We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And you're back on Liberty Nation Radio. I remain your host, Mark Angelides, and Graham J. Noble continues to be Graham J. Noble. Thanks for sticking around.
I do. Yep.
You do, every day, whether he likes it or not. So in the earlier part of the show, Graham, we're talking about Eric Swalwell and his new litmus test that any hopeful Democrat candidate for the presidency in 2028 must commit to tearing down the Trump ballroom, or the Monica Lewinsky ballroom, as might be called, on day one. But let's talk about who those candidates might be, because this last week we had two of the clearest signs of who our Democratic Party names are going to be in that column, and that was Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom. Both dropped hints that they'd be willing to run. Now, Graham, I hear the world screaming, "Don't California insert your state here." What is it really just, is America looking at California and saying that's the kind of leadership that we want? What exemplifies California?
It's just incredible. And of course, it to me, it smacks of desperation for the Democrats that these are the people they're looking at. Now, I mean, for a while, everybody, for quite a while, everybody's been speculating that at some point Gavin Newsom would probably, throw his hat in the ring with a White House bid. I think Kamala Harris has got a bigger problem. See, a lot of people are saying that Democrats are very kind of enthusiastic about Kamala Harris running again. I don't know. Maybe some of their more low information voters might be enthusiastic about it. But I think the movers and shakers within the party, I'm thinking, are kind of burying their heads in their hands, just thinking about Kamala running again. I almost think they'd prefer Gavin Newsom to run, even though his record is, let's face it, abysmal. But I don't know. I think the party itself may have Kamala fatigue, to be honest with you.
It's absolutely possible. And the numbers back it up. Obviously, we don't have polling this far out, but we do have betting markets. And I love following the betting markets because they're often more accurate than polls, because people are willing to, rather than just answer a question over phone or digital, they're willing to put their money down on these things. And the latest figures that I got, and I've actually done a piece of this on Liberty Nation that you can go and check out, listeners at home, and that is Newsom is 7-4. He's the favorite to win the nomination, which is like 35-36% probability that he'll get it. Way down on the list at 20-1 is Kamala Harris, 20-1, which is that's just under 5% probability that she's going to get the nomination. And she's doing this grand tour everywhere. She was on this is actually where we got the last Sunday. She did an interview with the BBC where she was saying she's not done yet. And that's she's not done yet with the political realm. And we know she's not going for governor of California. She's not going to be going for a House seat. And so it's the presidency, right? But I think nobody's told her that, she lives in this echo chamber where nobody told her, hey, what you're doing and what you've been doing is not going to win votes. People aren't interested in that. If she didn't live in an echo chamber, somebody would have been brave enough to tell her, you have to stop talking. You got to stop the word salads, because, I mean, she's a lawyer, right? She's a lawyer. She was attorney general. She was a senator. And a lot of people mock her. A lot of people mock her. But she must be reasonably smart. She must be. But then she just waffles on with this inanity that nobody can understand, and it means nothing. And there's been nobody who cared about her enough or was brave enough to say, you've got to stop talking. Make your point. Shut up. And if she had that, she might be president right now. But I don't think that she has that kind of bubble. She has people around her saying, oh, you're wonderful. You're the first black. You're the first Indian. Whatever. You're the first woman VP. Bloody
First Canadian or whatever.
First Canadian. Yeah. First child of a communist. To achieve certain offices. But she doesn't have it. So she lives it and continues to live in this echo chamber. And her book tour is just proof of that, because she's going around talking about the reasons why she lost, and none of those reasons are her.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. And I think her biggest, you're talking about the word salad here, and, and it's easy to make fun of Kamala Harris. Quite frankly, it's so easy because she literally says things that are entirely meaningless. And I really think that's her biggest problem. I kind of think you're right that you almost touched on it a minute ago, that she could have, I don't know if she would have beaten Trump this time around, but in another life, in another election cycle against another opponent, maybe, I think she well could have become president if only she was able to do that. If only she was able to actually clearly and concisely articulate an agenda and say, and have words come out of her mouth that actually, when you put them together, they made sense. I think
that's too much to ask, Graham. It's too much to ask.
Anyway, Trump's going to be running again anyway, so she's.
No, yes, he absolutely isn't. Well, let's never say absolutely right. I know he likes teasing the fourth estate with it, saying, "Oh, I could come on as vice president," and then he steps at that.
Well, he has kind of now sort of semi-endorsed, I guess you could say, a Vance Rubio ticket, and realistically, that may well end up being the Republican ticket.
That is a powerhouse ticket. There's no doubt about it. Mainly because of Marco Rubio, I think, because although J.D. Vance will, he has some chops, certainly, and he handles himself and the media incredibly well. But in terms of being tested every day in a range of different tasks, negotiations, diplomatic things, and decision-making, that's Marco Rubio at the moment. I mean, he's doing so many, he's wearing so many hats, and you really don't see anything. And I follow the more left-leaning media. I follow, it's what I read just so I can understand what people are saying.
I do the same. Yeah, absolutely.
It's the majority of what I read. You rarely hear anything bad about Marco Rubio, even in the places where 60% of their daily stories about how bad is Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. You rarely hear anything bad about Marco Rubio because he's quietly competent in a way that shouldn't be, but is strikingly rare in modern politics.
I think so. And of course, it's probably worth reminding people that we do not endorse candidates at Liberty Nation. But just in terms of comparing, just kind of in a non-partisan way, comparing Marco Rubio to the rest of the potential 2028 field, Republican and Democrat, it's almost like he stands out as the one guy who has proven that, he can actually perform and in an important role and actually do things. And I must admit, I've never been Marco Rubio's greatest fan, but he certainly seems to have, I believe, he's come through for the country pretty admirably so far.
Yeah, it's got to be the toughest job in the world, I think. Secretary of State under Donald Trump. It's
right. Yes, indeed.
There's nothing like Hillary Clinton was quietly competent also in her way as Secretary of State until the disasters and the scandals got the better of her. But, she didn't put any feet wrong. But the difference there is that Barack Obama had And I guess if you go on Wikipedia, he had no scandals. But the right way to look at this is he had plenty of scandals, but they didn't rise into the fourth estate level where they were, they were loud and clear everywhere. And it was really only interested parties who knew about these scandals. But the presidency of Barack Obama, it was a much calmer affair than what's happening under Donald Trump. Donald Trump is he's a whirlwind. He's a juggernaut. And Marco Rubio's got a tough job. Pretty much doing anything under that. And so Grant, let's pull back to the Democratic primary that will inevitably come about. Who do you think else will be throwing their hat into the ring?
Well, I believe that Tim Walz has suggested that he's thinking about a 2028 run. But again, is he even more of any more serious a candidate than Kamala Harris? I don't know. And then, of course, you've got the usual suspects, so to speak. For instance, Josh Shapiro is always one that people have talked about.
He'll be a difficult candidate to beat.
And I think the Democrats shouldn't discount him as a serious contender.
Yeah, very much so. The Josh Shapiro watch is on. We'll be back with Graham after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.